I also find that brides, they're just looking for a nice glow when they're getting all their wedding pictures, their day of. They want to feel and look their best. And I feel like it's like confidence in a bottle.
Mm.
People, yeah, just want to feel and look really good. And spray tans can give that instant kind of gratification from that and just build that confidence off of it.
Welcome to the Expansion Code Bridal Edition, the show for bridal hairstylists, makeup artists, beauty pros, and yes, even brides who want the behind the veil scoop. I'm your host, Heather Dick, bridal business coach, salon owner, and ringmaster of a 50-person squad that styles hundreds of weddings every year. Around here, we go beyond the hairspray. Think scaling your business, setting boundaries, surviving high-pressure moments, and creating client experiences that everyone raves about. So whether you're building your bridal empire or planning your big day, grab a coffee or champagne, and let's talk business, beauty, and a whole lot of bridal. Hello and welcome to the Expansion Code podcast with Heather Dick. This is the Bridal Edition. Today I have Morgan with me. She is the co-owner of Arizona Tanning in Sherwood Park. And we are going to talk all about tanning and business and all of the beautiful things. So Morgan, thank you so much for being here today. How are you feeling?
Fantastic. Thanks so much for having me on the podcast today.
Good. I'm very happy you're here. I will be honest, you're the very first podcast guest that I'm going to talk about tanning with. So I'm very excited for this as well. Mostly because, well, a couple things. My first job was at a tanning salon. And second, I love a good tan. So before we get into talking about how brides can best prepare, a little bit of business, all that kind of stuff, why don't you give a background on yourself? You said you're a co-owner, marketing background. I would love to hear a little bit more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always kind of been involved in the business industry from when I can remember. Right out of high school, I started an aesthetics company and then
Oh.
started a startup activewear company while I was through university and a small business market. So it's always kind of been in my blood to just be involved in this industry, and community building has been really important to me. I took marketing in university, and after graduating, my boss, I was working at Arizona Tanning, she was looking to sell and retire and move on to the next step and stage of her life. And she approached me and my fiance to see if we wanted to take over her amazing business that she has curated, this
Wow.
incredible community.
Is this your full-time job, or do you do this and something else?
This is my full-time job. So
Okay.
after I
Awesome.
graduated, I decided to slow down and remove, I guess, my other side hustles that I had going on. And I'm
Yep.
full on Arizona Tanning. I'm there Monday through Saturday. We're open, and it's just been the most amazing adventure. Just, yeah, jumping in head first and seeing kind of how things are going.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It is no small feat what you've taken on there. I mean, you have a background in business, so, at least you had an idea, but going from being an employee to an entrepreneur is a big shift.
It's been an incredible journey for sure.
Yeah, I bet. So you said you had an aesthetics background. Did that kind of influence your decision to work at a tanning salon and then purchase, or is that just happenstance?
Yeah, so I during COVID, I actually had taken an eyelash extension course and the whole world shut down. When it opened back up, I decided to, yeah, jump into that industry. And at that same time, I actually had gotten my part-time job at Arizona Tanning. So it's kind of been with me since the very beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, which has been really cool to see the growth of Arizona and where it was and where we're taking it. And just this whole vision that we have about creating the community and building on that. I'm just so excited for the future that we have with it. And we have just honestly the most amazing clientele base and staff. We could not do it without the incredible community that we have there for sure.
So what services do you offer?
So we offer an array of different tanning services, whether it's UV, so we have stand-up beds, lay down beds with UVA, UVB systems. So people will typically use those throughout the wintertime when they get the winter blues, before vacations, tanning before their wedding. We also offer spray tans, and we're eventually would love to bring in specific red light systems. Right now we have one that's a hybrid system. So it's a
Mm.
UVA, UVB system with red light in it. But yeah, I think that the industry is moving in such a health direction that it would be amazing to kind of jump on that trend and have those services available to people too.
Yeah, I think, speaking from personal experience with blush, we have so many different avenues of revenue, it's nice to have a few more services if your space allows for it. And I think that, like, especially something like a red light therapy, super trendy right now, really great for recovery. It's like a nice add-on service. So if someone's coming for a 10-minute tan, they can also add that on and get the benefits of the healing and all of that from red light. So that's a great idea.
Hmm.
I have to ask you this. Do people I would have thought that tanning salons in like a traditional tanning bed, I would have thought that that would have been dead by now.
Honestly, you and me both. It's
Okay.
crazy that honestly, well, we've been around the same location. So Arizona Tanning has been in that same location here in Sherwood Park for the past 30 years. So it opened originally in 1995. And to be completely honest with you, we have some of the same original clientele that has been there from the very beginning, which is incredible to see them kind of move through three different owner transitions, and they
Yeah.
still love the place. They're committed to their tan and their glow. And yeah, it's just really cool to see.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I worked at a tanning salon when I was 14. That is 26 years ago.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
that's crazy. And I think there's a place for everything. I think that, there's I know that tanning like in traditional beds, it helps cure a lot of like skin ailments and things like that. So I think that I'm not bashing it. And also if you do tan, please don't think that I'm judging you. You do whatever you got to do. I think that especially in like the wellness industry, like if it makes you feel good for the
Oh,
most
it's
part.
done.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to ask you some questions for our brides. Are you ready?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Why do you think that spray tans have become so popular with brides in the recent like 5 years?
Well, I think also, yeah, so spray tans, I mean, aside from UV tanning, people who aren't wanting to use the UV beds, it creates an alternative that, I mean, the solutions, there's so many more natural ingredients in them. All of ours are eco certified and just
Mm,
nice and natural on the skin. I also find that brides, they're just looking for a nice glow when they're getting all their wedding pictures, their day of. They want to feel and look their best. And I feel like it's like confidence in a bottle.
mm,
People, yeah, just want to feel and look really good, and spray tans can give that instant kind of gratification from that and just build that confidence off of it. With the spray tans we have a couple different types. We do them out of a booth, so you
okay.
can decide if you want a clear solution, bronze solution, and we kind of work with that and depict based on people's skin types of what type of, yeah, level that they're wanting based on how dark they want to be. Also, brides will come in and get trial tans. I'm sure you guys experience this too at Blush.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely like a lot of different options for sure for brides.
Can you break down what happens at a spray tan appointment for me?
Yeah, absolutely. So with us, you'll come in the door. We have our smart waiver forms. We have everyone fill out their waiver. And then based on that waiver intake, we also have a skin type analysis that they fill out. So once we
Mm,
receive that, we can kind of get a gauge on how their skin typically would react to the sun and what they're looking for that specific event, or maybe they're just getting it just because. And then we can get that information and give proper, I guess, analysis on what they're wanting for their tan, whether they want something just really natural or they want something a little bit darker and deeper. And we'll discuss that before we go into the appointment. And then we'll take them down to the booth, give them the whole rundown on the spray tan booth so they don't look like Ross from Friends.
yeah.
Um, and
Classic.
then, yes, and you know what? We get that all the time. But
I bet.
afterwards, they have never looked like Ross from Friends. So
Of
it's
course. And then what happens when they're in the booth?
we'll get them set up with everything's included in our appointments. So we have a moisturizer that preps their skin before. They'll pick that
Mm,
either clear bronze coat, and then afterwards it'll be a perfector. So basically an additional moisturizer that just helps with the pH balance. That's
mm.
all included in the spray tan. We have all the feet stickies, the hair nets, all the fun stuff, barrier cream. Also, we want to make sure everyone's wearing barrier cream before they go in because our hands tend to be the driest area on our body and we don't want that to over oxidize or oversaturate. And then we kind of guide them into the booth in our Versa Spa spray tan booth. That one is just fully automated. So it tells you exactly where to put your feet. And then we'll give kind of direction on where the arms go before we leave them to it.
Okay. And so the barrier cream, you and I know what that is, but I bet a lot of people don't know what that is or why you would need it. So can you describe what that is and where it would go when you get a spray tan?
Yeah, absolutely. So, barrier cream, I like to call it as my BFF whenever I do my spray tans. So, that one, basically, you'll just put it on. We have it in a lotion bottle when you come into the spray tan room. I lather it all over my hands, cuticles, base of my palms. I put it on my elbows, knees, feet. It basically just helps to create a little bit of a barrier because some of those areas tend to be a little bit more dry.
Yeah.
And I find that when I do spray tans, those are the areas that want to turn darkest first.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that just basically helps to eliminate your palms or your knees, elbows being the same color as the rest of your body, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. Do you have any tips or tricks if someone gets a spray tan and that does happen, how to remove that or how to lighten that when the hands are really dark or the feet are really dark?
Yeah, typically, as soon as someone comes out from the spray tan booth, we'll have them just give a nice little wipe of their palms. We have these
Mm,
wipes at the front. So that just kind of initially will kind of erase anything that might be lingering on there as well. Just recommending that people wash their hands a little bit sooner, maybe before their
mm,
first shower, so that they're not oversaturating and over
right.
oxidizing. That's at least what I find helps with me when I do our spray tans. How about you? Do you have any tips and
Um,
tricks?
well, this isn't gonna be legal. So what actually really works, so, like, if what I found, because with tanning clients, lots of times they'll sleep with their hand on their face or they'll do something that creates this, like, bad tan line somewhere, not necessarily on their face, but mostly on their hands. Like, if you're watching on YouTube, like, I'm pointing to, like, my wrist crease kind of, that can tend to get a little bit dark. Magic eraser works really well.
No
But
way.
I always say, like, is if we get like a panic or like if something's gone wrong and they've slept weird or whatever, I say, like, this works, but please wave me from if you get a chemical burn or something, because that is obviously not meant for the skin, and do not use it on your face. That, and also lemon juice works quite well, like an sorry, but it's not as abrasive. So you kind of gotta work at the lemon, but magic eraser works like a charm, actually. Yeah.
I have never heard of either of those. That is incredible, though. I'll definitely be trying that next time that
Yeah.
happens.
I mean, put it in your waiver because I feel like it's not supposed to go on skin, but yeah, it works really, really well. And I find that, so we do our spray tans by hand with a gun. I've done both. I used to do the booth that you guys have for years and years and years. Obviously, now I do the what we have at the studio. Both are very effective. And the good thing about the booth is, like, you're alone in there by yourself. So
Mhm.
when you're standing there nude or whatever, you don't have a person like 6 inches from your face. But, in the same breath, you might be able to eliminate a little bit of overspray or whatever, and it's a little bit more customized, but both are really, really effective, I find. And
Mhm.
because spray tans they've come so far. You talk about having a clear solution, a solution with bronzer, different scents, like all of these things. It's a totally different experience than Ross from Friends.
Yes, definitely. Oh, I know that episode is so funny, and the amount of people that will bring that up when they come in. I'm like, don't worry, if you've done the proper prep and your proper aftercare, you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, speaking of that, because I think that's a really good segue into any myths or misconceptions about spray tans, because I think that in the 90s it was like orange and streaky and stinky. And how far have you seen spray tans come?
I mean, a lot of people do have that misconception when they come in. They're a little bit more hesitant, especially I think with it being a booth. They think, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, I'm going to mess this up. But I think just the solutions and everything has come so like far from where it used to be.
Yeah.
And there's so many things that can do to help and kind of mitigate any sort of like orange streakiness. It's very
Yeah.
rare that that will happen. I don't know about you guys, but typically that's not something we see.
Yeah. It's the only reason why we'd see streakiness if they got wet, like if
Yeah.
they walked out in the rain. Do your solutions, you said that you mix by color depth, or do you mix by undertone, or how do you mix your solutions for your clients?
Yeah, so we have it's like a violet blue undertone that we
Yeah.
have for both of the solutions that we have that I found has worked best with our specific booth to kind of
Right.
eliminate any sort of like orange pigmentation. So we have a Catalina bronzer and then also a rapid clear solution. They both will have that blue violet undertone.
Mm,
And then at the front, we'll pick, so we have 4 different levels 1, 2, 3, or 4. One is our lightest shade, and then 4 is our darkest. So, kind of depending on where someone fills out that initial skin type analysis, we'll kind of assess them based on those 4 different shades.
okay. Yeah, I love this. Oh, it makes me want to get a spray tan. So I'm going to ask you questions now. It's funny because I know all the answers to these questions, but our listeners do not. And this is,
No.
I feel like, especially with spray tans, it's like the Wild West out there. Oh, see, I don't know if
Mhm.
you heard that, but my cat and my dog just got into a little scuff. But
Oh, no.
okay, so I for the bride, when is it ideal for her to get a spray tan before her big day? So if let's say her wedding day is on Saturday, when should she be getting her spray tan?
Yeah, typically I like to recommend about 48 hours before. So, not the day
Yeah,
before, but 2 days before. It allows enough time to have that initial shower. So, with our different solutions, they have different wash times. So, our rapid clear solution is a 4 to 6 hour shower time. Our instant bronze Catalina bronzer is 6 to 8 hours. So, typically, we're not recommending people sleeping in both of those because you don't want it to over oxidize. So, typically,
right,
kind of based on where we're at in the day, they'll pick a solution. They both end up being the same darkness at the end of the day, but
right.
it more so I would say is based on the shower kind of schedule there. But yeah,
Mhm.
about 48 hours before it allows for that initial shower and then any sort of additional shower that you need to have or whatnot before your big day. So
So the shower thing is a big deal because a lot of times people come after work for their tans and then
mhm.
we tell them, "Okay, you need to shower in 6 hours," which is like midnight. So for those listening, just keep that in mind when you do book your spray tan before your event because you're going to need to shower within a certain hour, whether and Arizona Tanning does it the same way as blush. You just want to keep that in mind because if you're okay waking up at 2 in the morning and doing a rinse off and going back to bed, then fine. But I do know that sometimes clients are kind of like, "What? I have to shower in 6 hours?" So, how do you prepare how would you like your clients to best prepare for their appointment? So, you take care of everything from when they walk in the door, moisturizer, barrier cream, all of that, but what do they need to do before their tan appointment?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually so excited about this because we just had a brand new website built that's so in
Ooh,
depth. And yeah, we have the most incredible graphic designer, Denitsa. And oh my goodness, it's incredible. What we have on our spray tan page is all of our prep and post care on there as well. So,
awesome.
yeah, before your appointment, you just want to make sure that you're exfoliating about 24 hours before. Don't be waxing or shaving in that time frame because it allows your pores enough time to close.
Yep,
Day of, you don't want to be coming with any deodorant on, no makeup, no lotions, because it can affect the pH of the spray
yep,
tan and even just the end results as well. But
totally.
typically, that's what we're recommending. How about you guys? Do you have anything additional that you usually recommend for spray tans?
No, literally the exact same. We do also recommend that they come in like loose dark clothing because elastics tend to like spray tans don't love elastics and lots of rubbing on the skin. So, if you're coming in the wintertime, come in a big sweatsuit. If you're coming in the summertime, come in a flowy summer dress, no underwear if you can. And just recognize, everyone at Blush and Arizona Tanning is not looking at your boobs that you don't have a bra on. But that just allows the skin to breathe a little bit more. Our solution's quite fast drying. I'm sure yours is as well. So, you shouldn't, but your booth will do a dry session, right? Like it'll spray
Yeah,
air at you. Yeah,
yeah. Which is nice because yeah, you
it
usually
is.
don't end up feeling sticky or anything afterwards because it'll just dry immediately after it sprays.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is nice. See, in ours, because we have the hand brush, we just take the hose off and and so we just like hand do it. We also have a powder that we add into the armpits kind of, like so like the elbow pits, the armpits, that kind of thing. So our systems do the same thing. We're just doing it by hand and yours is just a fancy machine. Quick pause because I have to brag on my first business baby, Blush Artistry. If you know me, you know that blush isn't just work, it is love. And we are talking hair, makeup, skin treatments, private personal training, the full beauty experience inside and out that makes you feel like the main character, whether it's your wedding day, a birthday, or just because you love taking care of yourself. My team, they are absolute pros. They've got the talent, the heart, and the hype to make you feel amazing. That's why Blush is the go to beauty squad in Western Canada. Can I get an amen? So if you're ready for a little glow up moment, head to blush-artistry.ca or catch us on Instagram at blushartistrymua. All right, let's get back to the show. Okay, so if someone was getting a trial run for this for their wedding day, how soon in advance would you suggest they get the trial run? Like how long does a spray tan usually last?
I mean, we do have a specific kind of service offering where we have a 3 pack. Typically, I recommend doing that for kind of anyone who has an event or brides coming in, just because it is significantly cheaper doing our 3 pack. You save about
Mm,
20% than buying per individual.
yeah,
But also, in that same sense, it allows you to get one for your bachelorette, for your
right.
bridal shower, and then you can use the last one for your wedding. And then you
Yeah.
know by that point in time what shade you're wanting.
Yeah, that's great. Sorry, and did you say when? How soon ahead the trial should
Oh,
be?
yes. Yeah. So typically, like a tan will last about 7 to 10 days. So
Yeah.
you want to make sure that you're fully exfoliating it off before you come in and get an additional one. So I would say at least wait a couple weeks in between that
Yeah.
would.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I've definitely had those tan addicts that I'm spraying tan over tan over tan over tan, and you start to look a little snaky. So try not to, if you're listening to this, try not to layer those spray tans because it's not as cute as you think it is.
No, and that's when I think that misconception and myth comes in where it gets patchy, but I think that's just the layering of the spray tans and not the proper exfoliation of it in between.
Yeah, I totally agree. Do you think that spray tans can help even out tan lines from, say, golf?
To an extent, I
Yeah.
feel like our beds probably help more so with
Mm,
kind of getting completely rid of any tan lines. It does assist, I would say, a bit, but not entirely. And
yeah,
especially, I guess, thinking about golf, like if you have a burn coming in for a spray tan, you definitely don't want that either because it's not going to
yeah,
turn up the right color and shade that you want.
yeah.
I remember one time this was a horror. I it was awful. I had gotten burnt outside and I think it was my sister's grad and I came for a spray tan the next day and it just the color did not look how it needed to be. So I guess that's the PSA. Make sure you don't burn before you get a spray tan.
Yeah, this is something totally that I just thought of. Have you ever seen I just Googled it while you were telling that story. So, have you ever had a client get the white spots after they get the spray tan on their skin where it's like the fungus? Have you seen that?
Oh, I not that anyone's brought up to me. Have you
Okay.
had that happen?
Yes. Okay. So we had years ago, this client had messaged us. So it's really common on the back. And a client messaged us. She's like, "Oh my God, my spray tan's so splotchy." Like it's like, that word splotchy is so funny. And she sent a picture and I was like, "Oh my God, what has happened here?" And if you look it up, we'll put it in the show notes maybe. So it's called Tinea versicolor. And it's basically like an overgrowth of yeast that lives on the
Oh
skin,
wow.
but it's treated with like antifungal shampoos, lotions, or pills. So it's easy to fix.
Mhm.
But what happens is you don't really know that you have it until you get a spray tan or you tan outside, and then you get these little white patches, like it happens on the shoulders here or on the back. It's insane. I'm surprised. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, I have not come across that yet, but I guess you learn something new every day. Oh my goodness.
Totally. And tans I find are so like there's so many variables that go into getting a good spray tan. It's up
Mhm.
to the client to do all of the prep and care. The aftercare is really important. Like we haven't discussed that yet, but you can only shower after a certain amount of time. Don't be scrubbing. Don't use a bunch of soap for your first shower. Pat your skin dry. Lots of lotion on a regular basis. There's so many things that the client, needs to do in order to get that like perfect spray tan for your event or your wedding because there's only so much that a booth or an airbrush machine can do.
Oh, exactly. That's funny. We actually just released a blog post about like your no BS spray tan, I think is what we called it. And it literally is all the post, all the aftercare, all the gradual tanning lotions, the exfoliating mitts, everything you need to know to have the best spray tan.
Yeah. It's not like I mean, so we do a lot of hair and makeup, right?
Mhm.
And it's not unlike that. There's only so much that makeup and hairstyling and curling irons can do. If the client comes in and they've got, let's say they're using a skincare product that's stripping their skin of oil and they've got an overproduction of oil and they've got, you know what I mean? There's so many different variables when we're working with services like this. So if you're listening and you're a bride, do your due diligence, my friends, because we're trying to do our best job. um, do you see a lot of bridesmaids and grooms getting spray tans?
Actually, so over the summer, yes, we I feel like have had one of our busiest summers and it has been
Awesome.
majority spray tans, which is definitely like we're UV as well. So usually I see a little
Right.
bit more UV, but there's been tons of spray tans. I feel like over the summer, lots of weddings, lots of people I know are getting married. And it's been, yeah, brides, grooms, bridal parties. We actually are just in the process after this busy summer of realizing we are totally lacking in the market and we need to have like a group booking option because we need
Mm.
some option for people to be able to save when they're coming in for these services with large wedding parties too. So
Yeah, that's a great yeah, we only have one tanning room, so basically what happens is our whole client lounge is just full of bridesmaids. We just it's just like a conveyor belt. They're just going in and out, in and out, in and out. But our tans, because we do it by hand, it's quite quick. It only takes 10 to 15 minutes for a spray tan. How long does it take for you guys usually?
honestly, I would say about 15 to 20 minutes by the time we're
Perfect.
like done explaining the booth. So around the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyone listening that if you wanna get your group in some tans, just a lot about well, it depends on how many bridesmaids or groomsmen or grooms want tans, but, 15
Mhm.
to 20 minutes is a good amount of time per person. Oh, I was gonna say something and I forget it. If someone's going on a honeymoon, we'll say, do you recommend they stay away from the pool? Are they okay in the pool? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, just from kind of being in the industry for a little bit and doing spray tans myself, I feel like when I have a spray tan on and I'm going into a pool that has chlorine in it, it is stripping the spray tan down a little bit quicker when you're
Yeah.
showering with really hot water. That's also stripping it down quicker. Usually, when I have a spray tan and I'm trying to keep it as long as possible, I'm just having lukewarm showers, even kind of
Mm.
cold sometimes. And yeah, I find that the pools do strip it down a little bit quicker for
Yeah,
sure.
I agree. I agree. That was a leading question. Um, um, do you have any tricks to avoid color transfer onto the wedding dress?
I mean, for us, like that clear solution is kind of our best friend. I really
Mm,
recommend that one for brides. And then usually right after the first shower and it sets in and they're now using a lotion, they can use that after they've had that initial shower. Typically there isn't really any transfer.
yeah,
How about you? Do you find anything that helps with this?
no. Like, it's I find that it doesn't really transfer usually unless, like, for some reason, I don't know, you're sweating profusely and there's a lot of rubbing in the area. But even then, I don't like, what I would say people would be worried about is like the armpits, but you don't really get sprayed under your armpits.
No.
It's not like your arms up getting sprayed there because that's not how you would tan naturally anyways.
Mm-mm.
So I don't think brides really need to worry about that. We've never had an issue with it over the
No.
past however long. So, and I'm sure you guys haven't either. The clear solution, that's a really good option. I like that option. That's a mental note. What's the biggest mistake you see people make with spray tans?
Hmm. I would say for us, it's not listening to our aftercare instructions and sleeping in their spray tan far too
Yeah,
long. And then they wake up and it's over oxidizing and just not the shade that it should be. We're very like encouraging and recommending people stick to that recommended shower time, especially for each different solution. Because yeah, if they choose to sleep in it past the recommended window there, yeah, that's when that spray tan can start over oxidizing and it does not
100%.
look as amazing as it should.
And it's funny because when we brought in a new solution a couple years ago and we were certain that it looks best when you sleep in it, like you get that darker
Mhm.
shade. And then we left it on for the maximum 8 hours. And I was like, oh, wow, no, this is way better. It didn't turn orange. Okay. So I don't want people to think that like over oxidizing turns orange. It just doesn't look the right color. And so, yeah, listen to your tan artist because we're not saying it just for funsies. We're saying it because we mean it. I remember what I was going to say. So, one thing I think about also with bridal parties and spray tans, you need to take into consideration if your partner, let's say you're getting a spray tan and your partner is not, if your partner is very fair skinned, you might look insanely tanned next to them. So, take those things into consideration when you are getting a spray tan. Maybe you can convince your partner to maybe just use a little bit of color on their face or like just a face tanner or something like that because you don't want to stand out and stick out like a sore thumb in your wedding photos. Also, your bridal party, same thing. If your bridal party is let's say you've got 6 bridesmaids and 6 groomsmen, and all of your bridesmaids look like they just got back from Mexico, and all of your groomsmen look like they've been sitting inside playing video games for the last 10 years. It's going to look a little funny. So take that into consideration, what everyone is doing in the group, not just you.
Yeah.
Because I do, yeah, confident, spray tans are confidence in a bottle, but you don't want to, look like you know what I'm talking about though.
Yes. Yeah. No,
Uh,
that's actually a good point though, because we did have a groom come in this summer and frantically the day before his wedding, he's like, yeah, my bride to be says I need to get a spray tan because I'm the only one who's not tan.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. And, there's a huge another misconception is that if you're really fair skinned, you're not going to like a tan won't stick to your skin. That's not true. It's just that you might need to use a different solution or you might need a different undertone. Like you guys use a violet blue, which is great. And so anyone that doesn't have color theory in the back of their head, violet, blue, really like those colors really cancel orange, yellow undertones. And so we have a violet blue and a green base, and the green is for really like pink undertones. So someone that's got like really rosy red skin, the green counteracts that. And so, we're not just willy nilly throwing the solution all over your body and just crossing our fingers hoping that it works. There's actually quite a bit of chemistry and science that goes into it. And you're in great hands, whether you go to Arizona Tanning or another company or Blush or whatever. We take this very seriously because we want you to look incredible on your wedding day. At the end of the day, you're our walking billboard.
Oh, exactly. Right. And yeah, it's important to us that that confidence comes out on your important wedding day too. And yeah, you're exactly like you said, a walking billboard for us too.
Totally. Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I'm really excited for you guys to get red light therapy because that's very cutting edge. And I think that a lot of people don't have that. I'm going to stay tuned. I'm also going to check out your fabulous new website. We'll link that in the show notes as well, because I think the more information, the better. Because you know what, guys? Shocker, ChatGTP is not correct for everything. And it's better sometimes to just go to the expert. And Morgan here is an expert in this. And it's, it's better to get it from the direct from the source. So speaking of, where can people find you, book their tans, get more information on all the other services that you offer? I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, if you're interested in checking us out, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. If just search up Arizona Tanning, we're there. Otherwise, our beautiful new website, arizonatanninginc.ca, you can find out so much information on there as well. Yeah, we do offer so many variety of services. And I think that, like you mentioned too, the red light is going to be becoming something really trending, and a lot of people are really interested in those types of services, and we do happen to have one of those beds right now. It just has UV combined in it, which actually
Mm.
is really cool. We have some clients that are
Mm.
using that bed right now. Actually, one client in particular, he mentioned to me a few weeks ago that he's been using that bed consistently for a year now and once a week, and he had mild psoriasis on his back and
Yeah.
he doesn't have it anymore. So red
Incredible.
light, and it really does heal and help, and it
Yeah.
stimulates collagen, reduces wrinkles, helps with any skin conditions. But yeah, it's just an all around really cool system that we have there for sure.
And once a week is enough for something like that?
Yeah, I would say honestly, it's consistency depending
Right.
on whatever you're wanting to do. So for him, just maintaining, if someone was going on a vacation and they were wanting to use one of our UV systems, typically we say start coming about 30 days out. We have a 30-day unlimited package. So someone can come in every 24
Mm.
hours, build up that base before they're going on vacation, or even for a wedding too. Typically, I would say that like 30 to 60 days before, start coming in a few times a week, and start building up that color naturally, so you're not rushing it and putting your skin into stress per se, because we don't want you to be burning. We're always kind of
Mhm.
building up that ray. So
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, I actually don't know the answer to this question. I realized that I was pretending to wrap this episode up, but I have one more question. Does SPF work in suntan, like in a tanning booth? A tanning bed?
I mean, typically we don't recommend that people are using it, because then I guess they're not getting the benefits. SPF is good for
Right,
outside because I mean the UV rays are unpredictable. We don't know what's going on, but
right.
in the tanning beds we're always tanning so safely that it's usually not necessary because we start whoever it is off at their skin type and kind of work them gradually up.
Right.
Typically, a tanning lotion is what we would recommend. Tanning lotions, yeah, can
Mm.
help with like anti-aging properties depending on the one you're using. They have vitamins in it. It helps to moisturize your skin properly. When you're tanning in the bed, typically without a lotion, the rays are just deflecting off of your skin rather than like penetrating
Oh.
into your skin. So it helps to like get a better result out of your tan, if that makes
Oh,
sense.
wow, that was very useful. I did not know any of that at the age of 14. I barely knew how to turn off a tanning bed because everything was manual back then. Okay, I really want to go get a tan now. You know what? Everyone's going to come at me because I'm in the beauty industry and sunscreen and protect your skin and all that. I love going in tanning beds. I feel great after. It's not like I'm laying in there for 30 minutes. Lots of times, like max time is like 10 minutes that you're in there. You're not even in
Mhm.
there for very long because like you said, you do things gradually. But it feels so good, especially in the winter time and you get cozy and warm. And yeah, I think I still like it. It actually makes me want to go get one right now, to be honest. I was like, I wonder where Arizona tanning is. But anyway,
Yeah. Oh, I know. Once
um,
the snow falls, that is where I will be in
yeah,
the
yeah,
getting my
yeah.
vitamin D soaked up.
Find me here. Yeah, totally. Morgan, this has been very insightful. I think a lot of brides are going to find this very, very useful for their wedding days. Even makeup artists, I think that, spray tans are something that we are used to working with and understanding like exfoliation and wear and all of that. This was great. It was a pleasure having you on the podcast today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It was so nice getting to know you a little bit more and your background. I didn't know that you used to work at a tanning
Yeah.
salon, so that's
Oh my
pretty
God.
cool.
It was a Wild West, I tell you that much. It was okay. I did this in my intro episode 50 episodes ago, or however long. But how this tanning salon worked is there was doorbells outside each door with a light. And when the person was ready to get into the bed, they would ding the doorbell, and then I would have to see which door it was. And then I'd be like, okay, so Nancy's in bed 3. And then I would go behind the desk and then I would turn on bed 3 and I would say she was going in for 20 minutes because back then those beds were like garbage too. And then I would turn on her bed for 20 minutes. But my friend, what I would do and then I would have to manually turn the bed off. So I was just setting timers. I wasn't like, the bed didn't automatically turn off. So like if I didn't hear a timer, if I forgot, people were in there sometimes for like 30, 40 minutes.
Oh my goodness. It's crazy to think that that's how it used to be, though. Like nothing was monitored. It was,
No,
yeah.
it was the 2000s. Like people didn't care about any of that stuff. No, was it even the 2000s? It's probably like 99. Anyways, yeah. So everyone that went to, I'm not going to say the tanning salon, but if I was your person helping you and you have sunspots now, you can thank me because that was my fault. I did not have very good work ethic at 14, but okay. So enough about me. Morgan, it was so nice to have you again. I hope that everyone listening to this podcast, if you're in the Edmonton or Shore Park area, you go down and take a look at Arizona Tanning because they are fantastic. And you got to get that glow on for your wedding day.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Heather. Today was awesome.
Thank you, Morgan. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for tuning into the Expansion Code Bridal Edition, your VIP access to a booked out, balanced, and thriving bridal business. If you loved today's episode, hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow beauty pro. For more tips and behind the scenes magic, hang out with me on Instagram at IamHeatherDick or visit theexpansioncode.ca. Until next time, keep slaying those styles, leading with confidence, and remember, every detail counts, and so do you. Another little disclaimer, while I love sharing advice and business wisdom, I am not your lawyer, I'm not your accountant, and I'm not your fairy godmother. If you do want to be best friends, though, you can hit me up. Everything on this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only, so no lawsuits, okay?